Hello, and welcome to the first official full episode of Ignored and Underestimated. I'm Stan, and we're going to talk about me. We're going to talk about spina bifida, what it is in more detail, and how it's affected me as a person. So, here's the boring stuff, but I'm going to try to make it fun. You can find all this information now on the Spina Bifida Association.org website. This is where I got some of the medical information from, but I'm going to give you all the good stuff off script. Spina bifida is the most common permanently disabling birth defect that is associated with life. Approximately 166,000 individuals in the United States have spina bifida. It's a type of neural tube defect, or NTD, that occurs when a baby's neural tube fails to develop or close properly. The literal meaning for spina bifida is split spine, typically occurring within the first 28 days of pregnancy while the neural tube is forming. Spina bifida often occurs before a woman knows she is pregnant, commonly referred to as the snowflake condition of birth defects because no two cases are the same. Spina bifida can range from mild to severe. The severity depends on everything from the size of the opening and the location of the spine. What causes spina bifida? And this is where it gets interesting. No one knows for sure. Doctors and scientists believe that a complex mix of both genetic and environmental factors act together to cause the condition. Are you an expecting parent? You can go to the website and you can find some resources that'll kind of help you kind of get some information to kind of guide you on what your next steps should be for finding out, how to go about getting testing and what you could expect. Okay. Can spina bifida be detected before birth? Yes, there are 3 tests. But it's important to remember that no medical test is perfect and the results are not always 100% accurate. Spina bifida can be detected in utero by one of the following tests. 1, a blood test during the 16th to 18th weeks of pregnancy. This test is called the alpha fetoprotein, or AFP screening test. This test is higher in about 75 to 80% of women who have a fetus with spina bifida. Number 2, an ultrasound of the fetus that is also called a sonogram and can show signs of spina bifida such as the open spine. Number 3, a test where a small amount of the fluid from the womb is taken through a thin needle. This is called a maternal amniocentesis and can be used to look at protein levels. There's the three most common types of spina bifida. Spina bifida occulta is often called hidden spina bifida because it's about 15% of healthy people have it and do not know it. Spina bifida occulta, or SBO, usually does not cause harm and has no visible signs. The spinal cord and nerves are fine. People find out they have it after having an X-ray of their back. It is considered an incidental finding because of X-ray. It's normally done for other reasons. However, it's in a small group of people with SBO, pain and neurological symptoms may occur. Tethered cord can be an insidious complications. Try saying that 3 times fast. And I talk for a living. That requires investigation by a neurosurgeon. The second, meningocele. Meningocele causes part of the spinal cord to come through the spine like a sac that is pushed out. Nerve fluid is in the sac, and there is usually no nerve damage. Individuals with this condition may also have minor disabilities. Myelomeningocele, also called spina bifida cystica. This is the most severe form of spina bifida. It happens when parts of the spinal cord and nerves come through the open part of the spine. It causes nerve damage and other disabilities. 70 to 90% of children with this condition also have too much fluid in their brains. This happens because the fluid that protects the brain and the spinal cord is unable to drain like it should, and the fluid builds up, causing pressure and swelling. Without treatment, the person's head grows too big and may have brain damage. Children who do not have spina bifida can also have this problems, which they used to call that water on the brain, or hydrocephalus is the actual medical term, which I also have. Hydrocephalus, I have spina bifida occulta, so I have I have a combination of the three, sorta, because I do have the opening in my spine. I don't have the severe form because I don't have like some of the more severe symptoms, but I do have like the fluid on the brain. I When I was born, I had the opening on my spine. It's on my lower back, like I said in my first video, right above the buttocks. And it's right now as an adult, it's about that big, and it protrudes a little bit, but it's closed. It was closed as an infant. I have what they call a ventricle shunt that runs from my head. It runs through my body. It drains the spinal fluids, and it empties out through my bladder, through the kidneys and everything. So it just comes out like regular fluids. I've had my shunt since shortly after birth. I actually have had my shunt fully replaced back in 1999. It was on one side, now it's on the opposite. That was an interesting adventure. Going to school was also very interesting because when I was born with spina bifida, I was able to go to school, and it was interesting for the first couple of years. I went to elementary school and I went to first grade, but by second grade, because of the school that I was going to, I actually did not have enough facilities that were equipped to deal with a person with a disability. So I had to leave school around second grade, and second grade on through eighth grade, I was actually homeschooled. So I didn't homeschool for most of the schooling. Then I moved from the small town that I grew up in, and I moved to a larger city. And then from ninth grade until part of my sophomore year, I actually went to school. I went to regular school again. I went to high school, and then I had some other stuff because there was a lot dealing with my spina bifida growing up because I had doctor's visits every 3 to 6 months. Because I would have to see, for me, and for a lot of kids, you would have to see. I grew up having to go to specialists. I saw a neurologist, an orthopedist, a I already had a primary care physician. I had a pediatrician as a kid until I was of age. And, I had to see a urologist. I had to see all these different doctors growing up. So it was a whole thing growing up as a kid. So my day would start, I would have an appointment. It could be anywhere from 7 to 9 o'clock in the morning. And I would be there all day because I would have to see all these different doctors because I would have to go, and that would be my thing for like every 3 to 6 months. And then in between that, because of the spina bifida, some people will have complications with their spina bifida. Some people have no complications for years. I was lucky that I had complications, but I really didn't start having the complications from the spina with the shunt issues until I was older. Until I was probably, I think my first shunt surgery, I was probably right around high school is when I started having issues because I had it for so long. I had multiple surgeries for other stuff. I had a hip placed in my left hip, and I had a pin placed in my left hip. It was supposed to try to help with mobility and whatever. And I had that as a child. I've had other stuff related to that. I had some other different surgeries growing up. I've had a lot of different things going on. I've had multiple surgeries because of the spina bifida. I've had shunt revisions, shunt replacements, shunt repairs. I've had hernia repairs, not replacements, repairs. I've had all kinds of things over the years. and dealing with medical equipment, because when you're dealing with spina bifida and other any kind of physical stuff, as you can see, I use a wheelchair. My chair is custom built. I have to have something that is measured for me, because I can't just. I have a spare chair that you can just buy off of Amazon or anywhere. That is just a backup for when my chair is not working. But this is my everyday chair when I go out, go to work, go to school, go whatever, because it's comfortable, it's convenient for me, it gets me around. Also, one of my other things I also have braces. I have leg braces. I've had braces for all my life. I started because I was born in 79. Yes, I'm 44. I had old braces as a kid that were metal and leather boots connected together that came all the way up my legs, and they strapped around. They were very uncomfortable, and I had to sleep in those at times. So there's a lot of stuff that I used to have to deal with as a kid and growing up. And it was a lot to put on a little kid, but I really didn't have much of a choice. So I was kind of like, okay, this is what we're doing. So, okay. Going to school, dealing with that stuff. I also, depending on how your spina bifida is, some people have more or less mobility issues than I do. I have my mobility is pretty good. I can walk, I can move around, get up. I have muscle weakness in my legs, so I can't stand for long periods or walk for long distances. I walk around my apartment if I need to. If I need to get up and run to the bathroom or go up to the kitchen, go to my bedroom, I can park my chair and I'm good. If I get tired, I have other things here to help me get around. I have a walker. I have my other chair if I need to grab something. I have, everything within reach that it makes it convenient for me. But I also know that if I don't need it, I just do what I need to do. That's just how I've always been. So like if I go out with somebody and we go somewhere and I decide I don't want to use my chair, I will take my braces, and if we go somewhere like we're going to a store or something, I'll use their carts or something, or I'll just, I'm trying to walk in and get around, move around a little bit, just so I don't have to, use the chair as much. And I try to do that some. I don't do it as often as I should, but I do. School was fun, especially getting around. Walking in classrooms was fun because I was in class and I would get up and walk, and people would see me in my chairs. And when I got up to go walk one time, I was in math class, and I got up, and this was in high school. I got up one day and I was in math, and the person in my math class, they had never seen me get up and walk before, and one of the students, he looked at my teacher, he goes, "He could walk," and my teacher goes, "Yeah, I know." And I do stuff like that. I am the type of person, I've never let anything stop me from doing what I need to do. So when people tell me you can't do it because you're disabled, your disability, screw that. I'm going to do what I need to do. Now, don't get me wrong, it's frustrating because there are a lot of things that are not accessible to us. There are a lot of buildings we go to. There are a lot of services that are not accessible like they should. Transportation can be an issue. Like when you're trying to deal with medical transportation, you're trying to deal with public transportation. I can ride the bus, the regular buses. I use the public transportation. I use the mobility buses. And it's supposed to be convenient for us, but it's flawed. It's very flawed here, especially because I live in the Atlanta area, and it's an issue. So I'm trying to get more visibility out here so we can try to get people together to help us improve things, because more people need to realize that we have issues that are not being addressed on a daily basis. And I want to make sure that people who are, lucky as I am, because I know a lot of people that don't have the abilities that I do. And I don't take it for granted. So I try to make sure that I do whatever I need to do. Sorry, I'm looking at my mic, make sure I don't lose my audio. I want to make sure that we get enough people out here to be aware that we need to look out for each other. So that's why I say we're going to have more people coming up. We're going to have more people talking. We're going to have people with different abilities, different conditions. So you're going to see all different types. We're going to go into a little bit more stories about me. We're going to run it back a little bit. Childhood. I didn't walk until I was a little bit older. I was probably, I don't know, probably 9, 10 before I really started walking. I was a little kid and I used to scoot on the ground. So one of my nicknames was Scooter. Don't anybody try to call me that if you see me in public, because I promise you, I won't answer unless I know you really well. I'm just joking. I'm just playing. One of my mom's friends used to call me that because I used to scoot faster than people walk. But when I was able to start walking, which took a while, I went through physical therapy and it was hard. I had physical therapy 3 times a week, sometimes more. And it was a couple of hours and it was tough. And I did that off and on until I was probably, I want to say 13, maybe 12 or 13 before I stopped doing physical therapy. And I did some more physical therapy as I got older, and I still do things now. And as an adult, I try to do some stuff at times because as I get older, I have other issues. I have arthritis in both knees. I have arthritis in my hip. I have bursitis in my shoulder. It's from rolling this chair. It's from doing other laborious, tasks on a daily basis. So people don't realize that we put a lot of extra strain and pressure on our bodies. And so I try to take care of myself as much as possible, but you can only do what your body allows you to do. I also suffer from migraines, which is not as a result of my disability, but some people do with hydrocephalus and other problems. They do get weather related and other. I've known some people that get headaches and migraines because of their shunts and other things. That's not necessarily saying that that's common. I just know from groups that I've been in, people say that they get headaches and they get migraines. I suffer from migraines with vertigo. That's really bad. But I also have like I said, the hydrocephalus. So I get the fluid, that we drain the fluid, which you don't notice it unless there's a problem. When there's a problem with the shunt, we know because we get symptoms, and I don't get symptoms like everybody else gets. I get migraine type symptoms. I get headaches, dizziness, nausea, no vomiting, which is not classic with those symptoms, but I get with that condition, that's not classic symptoms. And I've had neurologists say, well, that doesn't sound like a shunt issue. I'm like, but it is for me. And I've literally had to argue with doctors and say, I know my body and I know this is what's going on with me. So when I do go in with a issue, I'm like, okay, let me just tell you, this is what I think is going on. How about you just run some scans and see if I'm right? And 9 times out of 10, I have been right. And they have run some scans and said, okay, you were right. I know my body. And this is the thing, we have to listen to our bodies, and our bodies will tell us, hey, something is not right. But, for the most part, I've been pretty good. I haven't had any shunt surgeries in quite a few years now. Knock on wood, cross your fingers. I've been pretty good. I've beaten a lot of odds. I shouldn't be living on my own as a person with spina bifida because I know a lot of people that don't. I'm lucky. I'm blessed because I live alone. I don't have any aides to take care of me. I don't have any people, family members. And I'm not knocking that because a lot of us have different levels of independence. And we're going to talk to people who have people that take care of them. I was just one of those people that got lucky to where I didn't have to have that. Now, I've had people that have cleaned for me and stuff, but that was about it. I cook my own food. I pay my own bills. I clean my house. I mean, I do whatever I need to do. I'm a music nerd, so I go to concerts, I go to movies. Well, I watch movies. I haven't been to a movie theater in more than a decade. But I love to do things that are, to go out and have fun. So people think that just because we have a physical challenge that we don't have a life. And that's the one thing I want people to just get out of their heads, that we don't do anything in life, that we just sit at home and people take care of us and we're just poor, these poor souls. No, we're not. We're not these helpless people. We have lives, we have our own identities, and we do a lot out here. So we want you to know that you don't pity us. Join us. Have fun with us. Come talk to us. I promise you, you come and sit down and talk to me, you'll probably be like, damn, I'll talk to you and I'll have a conversation with you. I'll talk to you about something and you'll be surprised. Like, I'm a nerd. Like I said, I do all kinds of stuff. I make crap. I do 3D printing. I make a lot of stuff. Just made some stuff today and probably going to work on some other stuff next week. And I do some other things. I started this podcast for people. I'm going to hopefully I'm going to start putting out more content because I want to make sure that we have enough content out here reaching people, because I want to make sure we get the message out here. So I want to put a little bit more out here today and finally get this out here, because I know I've been promising it and I said it was coming, but life happens and sometimes we don't get things done the way we want. But I want to make sure that everybody gets to see more of me and other people. I'm going to be answering questions if people have. So if you have any questions, please feel free to, write something in the comments if you want to, or just subscribe. I'm an open book. I will tell you though, I have no filter. So I always tell people this: don't ask a question that you don't want to answer to, and please be respectful. And I tell people this: when it comes to people like me, I hate when people, and this is just me, it bugs me when people don't ask questions, they stare or they assume things. Like, if you want to know something about me, ask me. If your child wants to know something about me, don't tell them not to bother me. Let them ask their question, because I promise you, I'm going to answer that question. I'll be like, I've had kids go, what's wrong? Why are you sitting down? I say, oh, my legs get tired. You give a child a very simple answer and they are good. I'm like, okay, cool. And see, and for adults, I will answer your question as thoroughly as I can. And that's it. And I'm going to be respectful as you are. So I tell people, ask me what you want to know. That's all. But I wanted to make sure that I put this out here and make sure that everybody got to see this full message today, because I've been promising it and I know it's been coming. So that was my definition, my explanation. That was a little quick synopsis about what I dealt with in high school and whatever. And I could talk about it a little bit more, personal lives and whatever, if people are interested in that. Oh, another little fun fact about me, before I forget, I also used to play basketball, wheelchair basketball, against regular people, like able-bodied people. I was pretty decent. Just don't get clotheslined by me, because I'm 6'4" and I got a long ass reach. That was fun. Let's see what else. Also, I am the first person that will run and do some stuff, but there are certain things I just will not do. Like, you will not get me jumping out of a plane or something crazy like that. But if you want to go on a trip somewhere, or go do karaoke, or, go try something crazy food wise, I'm your guy. Like, I take people to go to sushi or go to a concert. So, people need to realize that we're fun to be around if you find the right people to hang out with. So, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in, watching the episode. If you have any questions for me, please feel free to ask, and tune in for next time. Peace.